Hi guys, welcome back to Thornton 100 Motorcycles YouTube channel. My name's Jody and welcome back to episode 4 of Joe Wicks, the Body Coach's Triumph Thruxton RS custom build. Now before I get started, I just want to say thank you to everyone that got involved in our brand new Thornton 100 t-shirt launch. You guys absolutely smashed it. If you haven't already got yourself one, click the link in the description below and you get yourself some sick Thornton 100 merch. So, in episode 3, we put the front end back together in this one. Evan gave me a hand and we started and finished up the design on the front mudguard. Now I'm going to be working on the back end. Now there's loads and loads and loads of stuff going on in this episode. So as you can see, we've got the swing arm in right now. I snuck in at the weekend, got this all fitted up. So that looks really cool with the Xylan coating as well, and it matches a lot of the other parts on the bike which are now Xylan coated too. So what I'm going to do now is swap the chain out and then get the back wheel in with a new side mount number plate as well, which is available in the description below as well, which will fit your Thruxton R and Thruxton RS 1200 liquid cooled models. And I'm going to do a load of other stuff as well. We've got some paint arriving, we've got exhaust coming and loads of other bits. So I'm going to get stuck in. Guys, new product alert. Thornton 100 has designed and created a brand new chain guard for the Triumph Thruxton R and Thruxton RS models. This thing is so sick. We made it out of billet aluminium and we CNC machined it. It's got really nice machine marks in it. And we put some cool cutouts and we also put our logo right at the back there. So we spent a lot of time making sure this thing lines up really nice. But once you've got your chain guard off, this thing literally fits up with one bolt. It's super easy to do. And it takes about 20 seconds to literally run it in there. You push it against the stop, you can't get it wrong, you nip it up like that, and you're done and dusted, man. This thing actually looks so sick. I'm so excited for Thornton 100's catalogue of parts to be growing and bringing all of these parts to you guys. That thing looks so cool. So I'm gonna crack on with the rest of the bike now. I'm very, very, very excited to see this part finally on the bike. Now this is the electronics tray that we machined and the Xylan coated in the last episode. We've 3D printed all the electrical holders. So this is gonna get glued in here like this and then press that down. And then that's never gonna come out ever again. Ever, ever, ever again, as long as I don't break it anyway. Right, so let's get this into the bike. I'm so excited to see what this is gonna look like. It's gonna look so, so, so neat. Okay, so as you can see now, we've put the exhaust on, we've had it polished up, it looks really good, and that is the exhaust final fit. So we've got brand new gaskets in there, and we've mounted it all up the back here with all the Loctite and on the rubber mounts that it needs. On the end, we were thinking about doing a Cnc End Finisher, however, I think it would have made the back end too bulky. So what we did was we put it on the bike, and then we actually cut it on the bike to get that nice flow into the back end here. And then we actually finished it off just to separate it out a little bit with a brushed finish as well. And I think it looks really, really, really smart. So we have the back end done now. What we needed to do was work on the indicators, because we didn't actually end up building it into this because we wanted to keep it nice and thin. So what we've ended up doing is creating these parts. Now, we've designed and prototyped these completely from the ground up. We did all our 3D prints and stuff like that. Now, these are our finished CNC parts. Now, what we have is the bolt for the shock, which comes out like this, and then we have our part, which goes basically over the shock, like that, and then your bolt will go back in, and then screws in like that, and this essentially replaces the washer that goes to the top of the shock there. Now what that means is that we can put, get that done up nice and tight, there you go. Right, so what that means is that we can put a little Kellerman light in here, which will do the tail light, the stop light, and the indicator, and it's really super bright. And we've also got MOT compliant legal spacing there too. So this bike is going to be completely MOT compliant, providing that we get some sort of baffling or silencer in that, and it will all be good. Okay, so moving along, again, we have another little bracket here. Now this is what a little bracket on a Thornton 100 starts life like. And it literally is just a cut up little bent little piece, and this is going to hold all of the little purge filters and the plugs which go underneath here. So all of that needs to be held up because obviously there's nothing holding up there. So that little bracket to test it, we'll 3D CAD that, and then we'll probably just 3D print that, and we'll use that as a final 3D printed part that will go on there. On the side here, now obviously we've got rid of the air boxes and we have these big ugly brackets here, and I don't really want to cut anything off this frame, and we have all these wires running up the back. So what we did was we essentially created a paper kind of template which goes over the top here like this. So that mounts there, and then also it holds up the rear brake reservoir, stuff like that. So we've just had it laser cut, and what we're probably going to do is probably just bend this up by hand. We're going to get that mounted on there, and then we'll bend it up and get it wrapped around, and that'll be a nice little, just a nice little easy finisher piece that's just going to cover up all of this ugliness under there. So over here, now we obviously don't have the ignition barrel at the top here or the steering lock or anything like that, but we do still have to use this because it's linked to factory electronics, and we can't really change that, unfortunately. So we're left with the task of mounting it. Now, before, when I built Thruxton 1200s, I actually mounted it here. I didn't do a very good job of it, and I think we can do a much better job now we have access to 3D printers and stuff like that. So this is what Alex has been working on at the moment. Now this is just a little part which pushes through there like that, and this essentially holds it. Now what this does is it hooks around the frame rail there, and then what we do is have a bolt and a wedging system which will hook around and then wedge this all in. Now Stevie, if you speed this up for these guys so they don't get bored of me fumbling around, be able to show them what it looks like when it's on. Okay, so this is essentially what it's going to do. Now this is a little bit bulky, this prototype. I would like to make it a little bit slimmer and sexier and an art piece in itself. So the tank comes down here, and what you're essentially going to be able to do is just go around, grab the key, and just flick it on and off. Hopefully far enough away from the exhaust so you don't melt your glove. So you just click this on and off. Now what we have is another sandwich plate which comes over the top, and then this is going to be threaded, this back part, and then what the sandwich plate will do will be bolted up, and what it will do is it will clamp the ignition barrel, but also it's got another wedge which will clamp this side of the tube. So as you do it all up, it brings everything together and holds it in place. And I think it'll be a really nice little neat solution, and fairly easy to machine as well, just to holding that ignition barrel, making sure it doesn't wobble about and making sure it doesn't twist when you turn your key and stuff like that. Now obviously we're going to lose the capability of having the ignition lock. However, this is not a commuter bike, it's never going to be used for commuting, it's sunny Sundays only. So lots and lots going on. Stevie, again, I'm sure he's going to do a nice little montage of us running around and doing all sorts of little bits and bobs. So the tank is painted now, so after all of this stuff is done, we need to create the inlet manifolds and get them on there. Unsure if we're going to CNC them or 3D print them yet, and then we need to 3D scan this base as well, because we do want to do a CNC seat base. Whether we do that now or in the future, I'm unsure. I know Joe wants his bike very quickly as it's getting towards the end of summer now. So this bike very quickly is going to make lots and lots and lots of progress. So very soon in the next few weeks, I think we should be done and dusted and riding this bike around the Surrey Hills. Okay, so this Thruxton RS build right now is really starting to come together, and I told you guys that this thing would come together really, really quickly at the end, and that's usually what happens on these big builds. Everything sort of comes at once, and it's just heads down, crack on, get everything bolted up, get the bike done and ready for its first test ride. And it's my favourite bit as well, because we finally get to see exactly what this bike looks like when it's finished. So loads of stuff has changed since we last saw you. We've xylene coated a plethora of bits across the bike, most importantly, these back parts here as well, so the rear light housings, and they look really cool. And then we've also done the inlet throttle covers here and also the side blades here, and we painted them gloss black just to make sure we get that real nice smooth finish as well. Now this at the side here is covering up this inlet. So what I managed to do in the end, we were going to 3D print it. Me and Alex were backwards and forwards going to CAD design something, but I thought at the end we should just go with something that's handmade and something that is really going to stand out. So I took the same pipe that we use for the exhaust, and I essentially took it off the end here and connected it using silicone hose and wrapped it all the way around the exhaust. Now it's got that kind of helix effect and wrapped it around. It looks really good from up underneath there too. So we'll show you that in a bit, but really happy with how they look. And what I did in the end is I finished them off with some K&N filters. So the K&N filters honestly are so good on this bike. So everyone wants that kind of pod filter look as well. I think I couldn't go with absolutely anything else on this motorcycle. So I've been using K&N filters for years and years and years, and realistically there's no other choice. So these ones are great as well because they're underneath here. They are going to get covered in like dirt, grime, stuff like that, road salt. So these are actually washable as well, so I'm going to be able to take them off, wash them out with the air filter cleaner, reel them, and then put it all back on. So they're really serviceable, and they're going to last forever as well. So as long as we keep Joe looked after, it's going to be really good. And realistically, they're a really good cost price as well. So if you want to know more about K&N filters, click the link in the description below and you can check them out too. So obviously we've got the paint done on this bike and we've got the Larry colour, and I'm really excited to get that on. And then we've also done the custom carbon seat base as well with the custom foam and the cover as well. So we've gone with diamond stitch at the front and the pinstripes at the back. So I'm going to go and grab that in a bit. So I'm going to start putting this bike back together now. So realistically what I think we can do now is chuck the tank on and chuck the seat on and see what this bike looks like for the first time, and I absolutely cannot wait. So let's get to it. Okay guys, fuel tank is all assembled, and check out the colour that we've gone on this bike. Really bright, Tiffany blue styled, and this is honestly going to attract so much attention. Joe absolutely loves it as well, so I think this is going to go really well with the colour of the seat as well. So I'm going to get the fuel tank on now and then show you the seat in a minute. Go. Seat, custom seat from Viking. So I went down and took this down and got this custom made as well a couple of days ago, and Viking have done such a good job on this. So it's completely bespoke and made exactly for this bike. So if we've made this correctly, then this should just clip in there and then slide forward like that. I love that. So we've still got the functionality of the key to release the seat as well. So if we need to get to the battery or any of the electronics under here, the fuses or anything like that, then we can get to it nice and easily. But we've managed to get this to flow so nicely into there. I'm so happy with how that clips in and out as well. It's just so easy. So there we go. The bike is finally together and it looks so good. The proportions on this thing are lovely. I'm really happy with how this back end kind of just tails out like that, just feathers out, and it's such a sleek line all the way across, all the way to the front, nice and compact and squished up at the front, and then these pipes which run all the way through the bike, straight out the back. And I think my favourite angle of this bike is literally just up under here, that angle there, these slash cut pipes, and this tailpiece is just beautiful. So yeah, so happy with this. I can't wait to get this outside, get it started up and see what this thing looks and sounds like on the road. Okay guys, so the time has finally come. Let's have a look at the final finished bike. Okay guys, so here we go. We have the very first Thruxton RS that Thornton 100 has built, and it was commissioned by Mr. Joe Wicks, the body coach. And what a bike this is. What a beautiful, beautiful piece of engineering that has just had so much work put into it, and I'm so happy just with the overall aesthetic of this bike. I'm really happy with how it's popping in this sunlight as well. It looks absolutely incredible. So starting at the front and working our way backwards, we have all of the custom CNC billet front mudguard that we did for it. We have the bobber headlight and all of the custom triple clamps as well. So we have the bottom clamp to hold the headlight and the top clamp to hold the speedo in as well. We Xylane coated all of the handlebars, and we did all of the little cable tidies as well, and the motor gadget bar and indicators. We have the ignition relocation on the front here. We have these beautiful pipes which run all the way from the front all the way to the back of the bike too. We've got this Tiffany blue paint which is absolutely popping in the sunlight here, and I'm really happy with that color and how it's come out, and Joe absolutely loves it too, so that's the main thing. And then we've got this custom made diamond stitch seat which goes back into a pinstripe as well, with this beautiful suede leather on top as well, and I'm really happy with how that looks, which feeds in really nicely into this completely bespoke billet tailpiece that we did on the bike. And then we've got the tail lights at the back here. These are really, really nice custom units that feed out into this kind of point at the end here with the slash cut exhaust and everything that comes to a point that looks really, really, really nice. So we've got the side mount number plate, we've got the custom chain guard as well, and then we've got all of the side pods and all of the side blades as well, which we've completely engineered and had laser cut, painted and Xylane coated, all of the blacked out throttle bodies, and of course the Thornton 100 engine plaques too. So we have these custom handmade inlet manifolds. On the end of those, we've got the K&N pod filters as well, which are so good, and they finish this build off just perfectly as well. So like I said guys, I'm super happy with the overall aesthetic of this bike, and I know that Joey's happy with it too. And one of the biggest things about this bike that I'm super happy about is the noise. So let me show you guys just what this sounds like. So, as you can hear, this thing is absolutely leery, and Joe loves his loud bikes as well. So, hopefully, he is going to enjoy riding this bike for thousands of miles to come. I know he's put thousands of miles on his other custom Thornton 100 bikes as well. So again guys, I'm really happy with the overall look of this as well. Let me know in the comments below if you're happy with the look of this too. If there's anything you would change as well, whether you like it, whether you dislike it, let me know in the comments below. So thank you so much for watching this guys. It's the end of this series right now, and we're coming out with a new series very soon, which is more vlog style, and I can't wait for you guys to see that too. So don't forget to like, comment and subscribe guys, and I'll see you next time.